This anchor belonged to HMS Sirius, which conveyed the first fleet, sailed from the Isle of Wight, 13th of May 1787, arrived in Botany Bay 20th of January 1788, anchored in Sydney Cove Saturday 26th of January 1788, and was wrecked 19th of March 1790 at Point Ross, Norfolk Island, whence this anchor was recovered through the efforts of Sir F. Sutter, erected 1907. Okay, so the story behind this is, I've got a good shot there, can't see. The Sirius was one of 11 boats on the first fleet that came out to Australia, and the colony first went to Botany Bay. Not enough resources for fresh water there, so they came up here to Sydney Cove, Port Jackson, and the tank stream was just down there. They based themselves around here because of the water flow, fresh water. And so the early colony was starving. The Sirius went to, I think it was Cape Town for supplies, but when it came back they decided that they needed to basically split the colony in two. And so the Sirius and HMS Supply took 275 people and went up to Norfolk Island. Now, Norfolk Island doesn't have an easy site to land on. It was bad weather when they got there. The Supply managed to land and offload their people and all of their food and stores, but the weather got really bad, and so the Supply and the Sirius were blown away for 3 days. They eventually came back, so the full complement of people were still on the Sirius. They came back and they managed to offload the people. They were looking at offloading all of their cargo and food and supplies, and that's when the weather got really bad and they got smashed on a reef. The anchor was thrown out at one stage, or cut away at one stage, in the hope that it would save them, and it didn't. So basically the population of the island was now 275, and they had half the supplies, and starvation was a very real prospect. But then what happened is, shortly after that, I think it was within the next month or two, a whole lot of Providence petrels arrived to breed, and they feasted on them. About, I've read one figure, 200,000. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but that's how they survived. And what they did to those birds was quite cruel. They basically cut them open to get the eggs out while they were alive and things like that. It was really horrible, but they were very desperate and they survived on those birds. They made them locally extinct around Norfolk Island. Now, some Norfolk Island cuccas were taken as well. They weren't as good a food source as the seabirds, but this was the beginning of the end for the cuccas, because there was now a permanent European population on the island. So there was a small amount of hunting of the cuccas for food, and later, some were captured and sold off for, get taken back to England or to Sydney. And the invasive species with some of the livestock they brought on, and heaps of habitat destruction. So it was the beginning of the end for the Norfolk Island cuccas. Here, well, this is from that actual event, the anchor from the Sirius. I got to admit, I just find history amazing. Like, all of these people, would they have any idea the world that they created? Obviously they wouldn't have. They were just flat out trying to survive. This is just one little part of Sydney. I don't know, you just can't be moved by it. Just all of human history and the destruction of it. The destruction it caused. But anyway, here it is.